This is Eric from Pack Hacker. In this video, we're going to talk about the NITECORE Pocket 10,000, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So as you can see, the shell is made from carbon fiber. That's pretty much par for the course when it comes to NITECORE battery banks at this point. And then on the sides, we have a plastic or kind of polymer material here, and pretty durable. Obviously not as durable as the shell of the carbon fiber, but everything, I've really roughed this thing up, and you can hardly even tell that I've been using it for 2 weeks, and I've purposely kind of been like, oops, I dropped it and stuff like that, and just also putting it through its paces through regular wear and tear of going inside backpacks, slings, stuff like that, and using it with my Nintendo Switch. And I don't rage too much, but it's performed very well. So we have an IP65 rating, which means it's not going to be submersible, but if it gets splashed or something like that, or it gets a bunch of dust on it or dirt, it's generally going to be okay. So don't throw it in the ocean or anything like that, but if you're using it at the beach, it should be fine in theory. So I haven't thrown it underwater, but I have gotten it wet and it has performed well. So we have 10,000 milliamps, which is kind of becoming the standard like carry around battery bank. For the longest time it was like 2,000 or something like that, and then 5,000, and now these 10,000 milliamp battery banks are becoming so popular. And what's unique about this one is it has a attached cable here. So this is very similar to the clutch charger, which we do have tested and have a full review of. So I'm not sure if they were inspired by that, but there are a few of them that are coming out that are similar to that, but the clutch was the first one that I tested that had this feature. So it's an attached USB-C cable, only USB-C. I don't think we're gonna see a lightning one or anything like that. Maybe we will, but with lightning being kind of phased out, and also micro USB is like super old at this point, I think this is probably the only one we're going to see. But the cable feels pretty durable, feels more durable than other similar kinds of devices I've tested in the past. It's just a little bit thicker, and I don't know, it just feels like it's less likely going to break or something like that. But it is a pretty short cable. I was able to use it with my Nintendo Switch, just plugged in on the bottom in handheld mode. It did kind of dangle around a little bit, but as I said, I'm not raging too much, so I didn't have to move it around too much. And it felt fairly natural, like just playing on a table or something like that. If you were just kind of sitting up, it might be hanging, like weighing you down a little bit. But overall, pretty happy with that. Let me make sure I get this right here. We have 18 watts of input, so it'll be charged at 18 watts, and then 20 watts of output. So pretty good performance, nothing crazy, but for a 10,000 milliamp battery bank, especially for the size, I'd say it does pretty well. But additionally, we have on the other side here, we have a USB-C port there as well, so you can charge pretty much anything with that. So you could use a USB-C to Lightning, USB-C to micro USB, USB-C to whatever. They make USB-C to almost anything now. So this one is 18 watts of input as well, and then 22.5 watts of output. So you're getting a little bit more output from this port than you are from the attached cable. And you can use both of these at the same time. You can also do pass-through charging, so you can charge with one of them and then charge a device with the other one. And this device also has a automatic low current mode. So if you're charging like AirPods or something like that, it just automatically realizes it. If I could snap, I would right now, but I can't. And then it's going to not overpower those and cause damage to them. So a lot of the same stuff we're used to seeing from NITECORE, just in a little bit different of a package. And then we also have the included cable, as I mentioned earlier. So it's just a different like design from pretty much the same thing that we're used to seeing from them. So I don't know. I like the form factor of it. As you can see, it fits in the palm of your hand. I'm going to talk a little bit more about where you can put this thing in a second. It just really comes down to whether or not you want this included cable, or if you're trying to charge different kinds of things, or if you're still like me, I still have a lightning powered iPhone. So I used it to charge my Nintendo Switch, my headphones and stuff like that, but I had to use a separate cable or a little dongle to charge my phone. So as I mentioned earlier, you really can just fit this thing into the palm of your hand. You can't like completely cover it up like with some of those really small, like 20,000 or 5,000 milliamp battery banks, but very, pocketable. This fits inside of my pockets. If you have tighter pants or smaller pockets, like a feminine cut of pants, you might not be able to fit this as comfortably inside of your pocket with your phone, because I think it's going to fit into most pockets that are, like if you have a pair of travel pants, like they're going to fit into most of those. But if you're trying to put this inside with your phone, which is obviously what this is kind of designed to do, you're supposed to be able to put this inside with your phone, put them both in your pocket so it's charging while you're just like walking around or doing whatever you're normally doing. You might struggle more with tighter pants, but overall pretty happy with the size of it. A lot of the other NITECORE battery banks are just like a little bit longer, which I'll show you in just a minute. So this one is more pocketable, and I like that a lot. One thing I forgot to mention in that last part was about these little buttons right here. So if you tap this, as you can see, we have full charge right now, and that goes all the way down to a flashing blue when you're really low, and then obviously if it's completely dead, you're not going to get any light out of that at all. But overall, pretty happy with the size of this thing, especially for the kind of pants that I wear and also the kinds of slings that I stuck this thing inside of. So if you're finding this video helpful, make sure you throw a like on the video, drop a comment down below about what you think of this battery bank, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. So I have the NB10000 right here, which is probably one of our most recommended battery banks, just because it is so small and you get 2 USB-C ports out of it. But these are very similar. They're just a little bit different design, if that makes sense, as you can probably already see. So these are both 10,000 milliamp hours, but there's just a little bit different form factor. As I mentioned earlier, this one is a bit longer, so it doesn't feel as comfortable in certain places, like a tighter pant pocket. It's going to kind of like stick up out a little bit. But I did the volume calculations. I'll just look at my notes here real quick. This one is 4.697 cubic inches, which is 84% of this one's 5.585 cubic inches. So whereas that seems like a pretty big difference, this one fits better in my pocket. This one fits better in a standard size sling. So it just depends on what you're doing with this, where you're going to put it, and just what your plans are for it. I think they're both very pocketable. This one fits into the palm of your hand a little bit better, but how often are you just walking around with it in the palm of your hand like a brick? So that's just something to keep in mind. So they both have, I guess, kind of 2 USB-C ports. Obviously, this one just has 2 standard ports there. This one has the port on this side and then the attached cable here. So this one is less versatile in my opinion, because you're kind of locked into this USB-C unless you're using like a dongle or something on the end there. But for most people, I think that this actually does better, because most people are charging their phone and maybe one other thing. Whereas this one, you have a lot more versatility, but this is nice because you, in theory, don't have to bring another cable if you don't want to. Maybe you just bring one USB-C to USB-C for charging, and just like in case you need to use it for something extra. So I'm struggling to shove that back in there. So you have very similar options on this, all the same features: low current mode, pass-through charging, and charging 2 items at once. It really just depends where you're putting it and how you're going to use it. So there you have it, the NITECORE Pocket 10000. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.